peanut butter and jelly pizza, went to martial arts classes, and studied young people's books at the library about DNA and mutation. I wanted to be a Ninja Turtle, and I took becoming a Ninja Turtle very seriously. It was 1990, and I was a 10-year-old tomboy with an unfortunate bowl cut. I was the middle child, but a very confused kind of middle due to multiple divorces between my various parents. My stepdad was my dad, but no, he really wasn't. My mom was divorcing him. But that was okay, because I didn't like him. One time I busted his lip open. I almost died that day. My stepfather had told me many times that he was my dad and that he loved me. But then, in 1990, he took it all back. He told me he didn't love me anymore, and he wasn't my dad. My real dad lived in the subdivision next to my mom's. I would spend Fridays and Saturdays at his house. I would wake up and watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles every Saturday. I would watch those heroes in action as I ate my cereal, as I shoveled my cereal into my mouth, my hand like a Ferris wheel on speed. I didn't even care what the cereal was, as long as it was eaten in front of the glow of those lean green fighting machines. My real dad didn't care much for being a dad. It wasn't really his thing. But this worked to my advantage, because every weekend he would shoo me out the door and leave me to the neighborhood for safekeeping. The neighborhood had parks, a pool, and other kids to play with. It also had a huge ditch that had open sewers. This, I thought, would also work to my advantage. "Today's the day we're going in," I said to Sarah, the little white-haired blonde who lived next door to my biological father. John, the equally blonde younger brother of Sarah, nodded. "I bet you're afraid." John took the last sip of his can of Sharps. Yes, the non-alcoholic beer, Sharps. John loved it. His head, too big for his body, flipped back like the top of a Pez dispenser. "I'm gonna get lots of bugs and put them down your shirt, Sarah." He tossed the can to the grass. "No, you won't, John. I'll tell Mom and she'll make you eat them." Sarah hopped onto her bike and waved her tongue in sisterly antagonism. I had no time for their sibling rivalry. "I don't care about bugs. I care about the Ninja Turtles. We have to find them." I started pedaling and shot out of the driveway into the empty street. Sarah and John were keeping pace with me. At school, I carried a Ninja Turtle lunchbox and kept my plastic Donatello figurine by my side. He was my favorite because he liked science. He wasn't rude like Raphael, not too hip or too cool like Michelangelo. I was a quiet kid, and I liked reading books about astronomy. I liked to write stories about how I wanted life to be. I wrote a story about a female Ninja Turtle named Van Gogh and mailed it to the creators of the Ninja Turtles. I never heard back, but I made peace with that. Van Gogh would soon become my own Ninja Turtle name once I would find them in the sewers. I don't think other kids at school cared much for creating stories about how the world should be. Other kids seemed to like things like rubbing my head for good luck, calling me frog face and nerd, throwing Donatello across the recess yard, and stealing my prized lunchboxes. Yes, lunchboxes plural, as they were not often returned to me, and my mom had to buy new ones. I couldn't tell what else they did for fun, but at least I had my weekend friends who went to a different school and were younger than me. They never made fun of my unfortunate haircut. And by the way, a true Ninja Turtle would never make fun of my haircut. "When we get there, let me go in first. I'm a boy. I know what to do," John said, pulling his bike ahead of mine. But it was my idea to go into the sewers. I was the one who needed to become a Ninja Turtle. I was the one with the mean stepfather, not him. He had a family that worked. John wasn't going to steal my happy future from me. I needed him to back off. "No way," I cried. "I'm first." The large concrete pipe sat waiting for us. We turned our bikes to the side for a dramatic halt, and we stared at the large, dark oval that beckoned. A thin stream of stagnant water lay outside the pipe, and we assumed the rest of the journey into the darkness would be moist, wet, dirty, moldy, and maybe worse. But There could be Ninja Turtles, so I had to go. It was my great destiny. If Donatello can live in the sewers, so could I. They even keep pizza in the sewer. I pulled my bike beside me on my way to the dark hole. John tried to overtake me, claiming he was going first. Sarah stopped her bike, but didn't dismount. She was too afraid. We stood at the entrance, each of us not wanting to admit to any fear. I opened up my backpack and pulled out the flashlight. I pointed it at John. Suddenly, he had changed his mind on being first and shook his head no. I should be the one to go in first anyway, even if it was dark, smelly, creepy, and perhaps haunted with ghosts and monsters. I had to go in. How else was I to find my best friends? How else could I figure out with them how to turn myself into a Ninja Turtle? This step had to be taken in order to make my life happy, to give me purpose, to belong to a unique family of 4 reptiles and a rat. Their family stuck together, even though a man with knives on his arms and face and a bunch of monsters were always trying to kill them. My family couldn't stick together through a light drizzle. I was going to join their family now. I would be a hero, become strong, courageous, and fight for justice, just like when I called the police on my stepfather. But this time, I'd fight for justice like Donatello. I would be the hero, not the cops who came to my house. I took one step into the dark, the tiny light like an arrow pointing forward. I took another step, and then one more. The sunlight got further from me. Sarah and John got further away as well. I could feel the breath come in and out of my body. I had to keep going. My life would make sense if I could just find Donatello. I lifted the thin beam of light up the walls, and the reality of an open sewer was upon me. Cockroaches! I screamed, racing straight out of the tube. Sarah and John joined me in my screaming, even though they saw no cockroaches. In unison, we grabbed our bikes and dragged them up the ditch. We hopped on the seats and started pedaling for home. There were like 100 of them! Ew! I wailed. Ew! They sang back. As you might have guessed, I never became a Ninja Turtle. I wrote fan fiction about being a Ninja Turtle in 5th grade and drew comics of them throughout middle school, but realized that it was not possible to mutate oneself into a half-turtle being, even if one got over their fear of cockroaches and made it into the sewer. I would go through puberty instead. I could, and would, mutate into a pimple-covered boob creature with a huge butt. But I could not mutate into a turtle. It was just impossible to live my childhood dream. But at least my stepfather was gone. I wised up in middle school and hid my passions from others. My Ninja Turtle lunchbox and toy had to be kept secret in my locker. This saved me from some teasing in middle school. Not all teasing, but at least the turtle-oriented taunts. I had other childhood and teenage dreams for adulthood beyond being a green warrior. A famous artist in New York City, Nobel Prize-winning writer, Indiana Jones-style archaeologist. I have found that the path to becoming a Ninja Turtle is actually just as plausible as all of those. And it should be noted that I wrote this whole story while eating a banana pepper, steak, and mustard pizza. Maybe I am truly on my way to becoming a Ninja Turtle. Thank you.